recently.
All right.
All right, I would like to call to order the August 13th, 2025 meeting of the Monona Mass Transit Commission. Mark, you've got the roll, I'm
Yeah.
sure. All right.
Everyone's here. Do you know, speaking of that, we have 2 vacant positions. Have you talked to Nancy, I guess?
I have not.
Okay.
I will put that in my notes to circle back with her. I know that she's had other things going on.
No, I know.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I'm glad you brought that up. Are there any members of the public that are here to appear before this commission? Mark, you don't see anybody?
No.
Okay. Then I'll go on to unfinished business. We really don't have any. Unless I guess it depends how you think about it, because there are some things under new business that we have talked about before, but I'll just go on to new business. So 6A, the 2025 ridership report for the months of March through June, and those start on page 3 of your packet, and they just sort of continue on for the next few pages. I asked Mark, thank you very much, Mark. I also asked Mark to include in your packet, beyond just the numbers, the email exchange between myself and McRoosh. Addie, this is the number, the email address we were referring to just a moment ago, who has been our contact person at Metro and been working with the city. And he, as you recall, we did not meet for our normal meeting in July. So these questions, you'll notice the date stamp on the email is just a little old, but the answers are still very, very much okay. So where would we like to begin? Where would the commission like to begin?
I didn't get the information from Nick. He apologized. They've been backlogged or people have been gone, so I've been looking to get like the June, July data like you had before. I never got that, so this is all I was able to put in the packet, so.
Okay.
And I did send the data, if anybody saw the data, if they were able to work with that. So I think I sent that as an email too. Did I attach that?
And Mark,
You attached the Excel, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I meant to play around with it, but I didn't have time
Yeah.
today. But maybe before the next meeting, I can do that.
So that's great that we have that. It's just really nice to have that raw data to look at it. So thank you, Mark, for getting that. I appreciate it. I don't mind at all. I also don't mind that Metro produces, the pretty reports. That's fine also. It is also nice to have the raw data.
So I did include in here, you'll see kind of the 3rd page, kind of the weekday ridership. And then the very last page, just so you had comparisons between that, because the paratransit's in there too. Where were you at this year compared to last year? It's just you kind of want to do comparisons to the first student and then the Metro. So with the Metro though, it's a little misleading the more digging into this.
Mark, what pages are you referring to in the packet?
Page 3.
On page 3, the column labels that say 3, 4, 5,
That's just a month.
March, April, May.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So that's March, yeah, roll labels is 3, 4, 5. So if you look at 38 has a total of 2,921. But if you kind of the last page of the packet, I had the ridership reports from 2015 to 24. Just some little bit of comparison. If you kind of want to look, just so you're aware of this. So if you take the 38 into Madison, you're coming back on the 38. Does not show on this report as a ridership for us. It's just if you get on the bus in Monona, that's what I've learned. So it's a little misleading. If you look at first student, they have the.
Oh, it's whenever you're doing a punch, whether you're going downtown
Yeah.
or coming back. Oh, so it's more like twice the
Yeah,
Okay,
so the first student, yeah, if you're in Madison and you get on the bus, that would count as a ride. If you're using Metro and you're in Madison, even though you head on the 38 home, so you get picked up at the square area, that's not included in this ridership. And then if you look at paratransit, it's the same thing. If you're getting on in Monona, it shows in these ridership reports. But if you get picked up in Madison and coming into Monona, so if you went to Dean Clinic or whatever on Stoughton Road, we for students show as 2 rides, but we only show it as 1 ride in there, so there's.
so if ridership was
Wow.
consistent in the transition from Monona Express to Madison Metro, we would expect to see the Madison Metro numbers be half of what
Correct.
the Monona.
Yeah, so if you're kind of comparing, just for comparisons, if you're looking at,
That's really interesting.
so you just kind of think, well, okay, paratransit, I'm just gonna say it's 100. Should really times that by 2, because that's usually a lot of times.
Yeah.
In Metro, you don't have that on the way back, so.
So for January of 2024,
So, yeah,
Monona Lift was 309, Metro was 610, which is twice.
well,
But
it's not like it's
It's
really,
really 4 times.
Yeah,
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 Wow,
so it's even better number, but,
right.
so that's the
Wait,
one.
what's the 4 times? Sorry?
So if you look at the January of 24,
Uh-huh.
Page 9.
so is it
300
the same for Monona Lift? How did they count that on Monona Lift if you went to the grocery store and then came back?
That's just 2 rides,
They would count that as 2. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
so every time you get on the bus,
Uh-huh.
so that's 2.
Mhm.
So it's not 4 times, it's just double, Monona, or Metro.
Yeah, but the
the number is
number,
double that's shown here. So you have to double it again to show a comparison.
No,
You would do the opposite, you subtract it by.
you would divide it in half.
Metro,
what
First-
Rick's saying is that they're,
oh,
even if,
this is Monona Express versus Monona Lift.
Correct.
but
No.
even with that considered, Monona Lift had 309, and you were saying that
More like 100.
in the same period. Oh, okay, so for March, it was 181
Alright, shows what?
for March of this year.
Page 4.
And
Page four.
then,
Go back.
so 336, so it actually is looking like it's somewhat consistent.
Yeah,
So at the
Because
end of the day, is it accurate, is it an accurate summary to say, because First Student Services were all about Monona, they were able to track every single ride coming and going?
yes,
Whereas because Madison Metro has a lot more than Monona, all we are counting are the rides that start in Monona.
correct,
We are not able to count the rides that end in Monona.
correct, so yeah, so like I said, for paratransit, somebody got a ride to Dean Clinic.
Right.
And they would get a ride back. Technically, it's, for Metro, they only showed it as 1, but for first student, it would have been 2 rides.
Right.
But
Exactly.
they are gonna have the ability to
Wow.
measure people getting off eventually, if not already.
Yeah,
They talked about it, so
Yeah, it's
eventually
like
your
this,
numbers will
yeah.
catch up.
so if you look at the page 5. So you look at Monona trips,
Yeah.
so, I mean, so they're able to track it, so if they had the Lyft riders, or the paratransit riders, 158 of them went into Madison, Fitchburg, UC, Vermont. So maybe I can see if there's a way I can get from. There's probably a way Metro has it that shows how many rides came into. There's gotta be a way, so see if I can talk to Mick about that.
Yeah.
Quick, 2 points of clarification on page 5, the vertical bar graph that has Mick's signature at the bottom of it. So as
Yes.
I'm interpreting that number, in April, there were 200 of the people in April that rode Metro. 202 of them got off in Madison, 6 got off in Fitchburg.
Yeah, the paratransit,
Oh, this is paratransit. Okay,
Yeah.
page 5 is just paratransit. Okay, because I
Yes.
was trying to figure out why the numbers were so low. Okay, so this is paratransit, and we see people are leaving Monona and predominantly going to Madison on
Yes.
paratransit. Okay, good,
So
good.
let me just make sure I understand this. What Addie just said was that this graph shows us that people are starting their ride in Monona and ending in Madison.
Right.
But
Right.
I just said, and I thought it was accurate, is Madison Metro able to count rides that start in Monona or rides that end in Monona?
Only for paratransit,
Only for
because
paratransit.
they're arranged and the driver knows where they're picking up the person and where they're gonna take the person, whereas for the regular bus, there's no way, they're not tracking
Correct.
when people get on.
No, I'm still not,
They will be though.
still not catching
At
what
some
you're saying.
point, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna say it again. So first student could count rides that started in Monona and rides that ended in Monona.
Only because every time you got on,
I understand that. I'm just asking you, maybe I can phrase it in a different way. I understand, it doesn't matter why. I just want to be able to quickly explain to other people. First student could count the rides that both started and ended in Monona. What can Madison Metro count? I'm just going to leave it open-ended. Do they count only the rides that start, only the rides that end, or both?
it's different for the full bus versus
Let's
paratransit.
talk about the full bus right now. What do they
Okay.
count?
they count where you get on.
Where you get on.
Only, that's it.
Only, whereas first student counted on and off. Now let's talk about paratransit. Sounds like they can count both for paratransit. Yes. Okay, beautiful. That's perfect.
No, I mean, the only thing about first student though is that those numbers are actually probably even bigger than what they were because there are some people getting on not in Monona.
Right.
Right.
So they're even more,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's so.
and there are people who would get on at Walter Street at Atwood.
A lot of those were
And
from
those-
Monona,
Yeah, and so each person
yeah.
who got on there, they might, a lot of Madison Rush. Yeah, so it just, anyway, it's
Yeah.
not very scientific, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
generally they could count, it generally represents minimum.
So one thing I'm seeing on page 5 that's really, really standing out to me right now is how many paratransit rides are people that are picked up, because all the data here on page 5 are people who are picked up in Monona for a paratransit ride.
Correct.
And in March, 4 of those people stayed in Monona. In April, 5 stayed in Monona. And then we see this little bump up in June where 20 people stayed in Monona. Oh, sorry, there's some adding we have to do there. Sorry, 9 plus 4, 13 people stayed in Monona. 9 plus 5, 14 people in April stayed in Monona. And those big bars for Madison destinations, I'm interpreting that as that so paratransit that operated previously would take people to within a mile of the city of Monona's boundary.
Correct.
Right. So there's a little bit of overlap of Madison where people could have been going on transit with Monona Lyft service. But I think a lot, and I don't know how many, but a lot of those rides are people going to destinations in Madison that probably were not served by the Lyft service.
I can also imagine someone like going to Fresh Market or whatever it's called when under the old service, because it was within a mile.
Mhm.
And then now that they can do this, they're like, oh, well, I'm gonna go to a supermarket I like better. I'm gonna go to Woodman's or I'm gonna go to the co-op. So it could, it's hard, it's interesting. It's like, I wonder if it's mostly the same people, but they're just choosing different places or going more places or,
And I think we could be pretty confident in those folks that were picked up in Madison and went to Fitchburg, Middleton, or Sun Prairie, that they had no access to that service
Yeah.
before we rolled out Metro. Right?
Oh.
So some percent of those Madison numbers are new opportunities for people to get paratransit service across our broader community. And all of those people going to Madison or Fitchburg, Middleton, and Sun Prairie did not have the ability to use this service. So to me, I'm interpreting at a high level this as there was a lot of need in Monona for paratransit services that we weren't serving with the Monona Lift that are now able to be served with Monona Madison paratransit service. Those to me look like really positive signals for improved service, improved access.
The ridership itself was higher though with the Monona Lift, is that right?
You gotta
It was
divide that by
double-
You
two.
just,
Divided
yeah,
by 2. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
It was double counted, yeah.
yes,
oh,
compared to what Metro's doing, so we could have.
so it's comparable. The numbers are.
yeah, yeah.
But a little bit of the lift, sometimes it was. They weren't all lift riders, a lot of times somebody might just jump on the lift,
Mhm.
time of the day it was, and use it, these are actual. Paratransit riders,
Wait a minute,
so like the lift, a lot of times if you weren't, there was a scheduled time when the express wasn't working. Some people would use it as a lift, as kind of like the express.
oh, really?
Yeah, it was not uncommon to have somebody who wouldn't qualify for a paratransit, right?
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably true quite a bit,
Yeah,
because I
Isn't
mean,
it?
they really screen, whereas Monona Lift didn't really screen at all.
yeah, I don't think anybody's ever been turned away, but yeah.
Right.
Are you talking about 2020 when you say we did screen them? Or-
No, I mean, with paratransit, you are screened by Madison Metro, whether or not you're eligible. Whereas with Monona
Yeah,
Lift,
I think it's
So-
just difficult. I think it's just difficult when some are joining remotely and some are joining in the room, but that's nobody's fault. So why don't we just run the meeting where and everybody's talking all at once and it's kind of a conversation that's difficult for everyone to follow. So Rick, could you start over and could you tell me what page you're looking at and could you repeat what you just said?
yes. So I'm saying the numbers between the Monona Lift, and I'm not sure the page number, that could be 5,
Page 9?
9.
9, the last page.
Okay.
And then the Monona Trips, which is 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just comparing the numbers, total number.
So on page 9, you
And I was noticing that, you
page
have,
5, that's paratransit. And on page 9, it's
Yeah.
not paratransit.
Page 4, I think we're talking about the total, Monona paratransit ride on page 4, where it shows for June 205. Is that the?
I was just looking at
June.
Okay,
200 as
we
being,
need
Oh,
to-
okay.
we need to say the page number. And
yeah,
we
I'm
need
not
to-
sure. They're
And we
not
need to be
numbered.
clear. Okay, so are we on page 4?
I don't know, what page is this again?
That's fine.
So 5,
Getting off.
5
Page
and
5 is
9.
paratransit, yep.
I'm comparing paratransit to Monona Lift on page 9.
I see. Okay, got it. Yes,
And I,
that's,
you know, I see they're higher numbers, but we learned that you have to cut them in half to make them comparable to what you see with Metro.
correct, exactly. But we also said that Metro has the ability to count rides that both start and end in Monona when it comes to paratransit,
Right,
Right.
but
which is the same
these numbers on page
as on a lift.
5 are not cut in half. These are total numbers,
No,
right?
you don't have to cut in half because You don't have to cut in half because we're comparing paratransit to Monona Lyft. And both of these systems, unless I have grossly misunderstood, when it comes to Madison Metro, the only number which is single counted is the regular old bus.
Is that true on this page? Is this total numbers or we have to cut them in half?
That's the total number of people who got on, but it's just showing all the places they got off.
Right, so you don't have to cut this number in
Yeah.
half.
Yeah, I don't think you guys are disagreeing.
Yeah,
Yeah, guys, same thing too.
So on page 5, you're only counting onboardings in Monona.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's just onboarding Monona.
And showing where they got off.
Because we did, okay, but we did say earlier that Madison Metro has the ability to count both on and off boardings when it comes to paratransit.
Correct.
They have the ability, but this
As
graph
far
doesn't
as
show
the
that.
document in front of us, it's only representing onboardings.
Right. Even
Okay,
though they can, this number only shows onboarding.
okay, that's really important because when we're at a council meeting and we want to give an update on some really high level statistics. Okay. All right.
Oh, I forgot what my point was.
Well, your point was basically their numbers aren't. Metros, they're pretty similar, but if you divide them by 2, if you look at May,
You would expect there to be,
I still think Metro's a little bit higher. If you look at- If you look at May of 2024, is what, 365, you divide that by 2, it's 181 compared to May of, for Metro of 2025, you're at 224, so you're up 50 rides more. So,
Okay.
so there definitely is a higher use of the paratransit.
Okay.
We have currently, like they said, 64 in that email, 64 active Monona riders, which is kind of crazy because you think about 64 active riders, and if you look at the month of May, you get 224 rides, so there, some of those are riding it 3 or 4 times.
Right.
In a month,
Right.
at least.
Repeat offenders.
Yeah, so it's not just one time a month.
Right.
Multiple times they're using it.
64, interesting.
Which on average, I think we're around 21, 25.
What, say that again?
On the average is like 21 to 25 for the lift.
For the
oh,
lift,
Yeah. So again, there's multiple users there too, so.
but 21 versus 64.
And these are newer riders, so I think there are people who are starting to use it more.
Okay.
Tell, at least.
Well, that's interesting.
Mark, can you repeat what you just said, but only one part? So right now, as far as Madison Metro Paratransit, Mick is letting us know that we have about 64 active people, 64 riders.
Active paratransit riders that applied for and been accepted.
Oh,
Yes. And those 64 riders are so on page 4 of the packet, there's a multicolored chart. And it talks about how, let's just pull it out, in the month of May, there were 224 rides. And am I understanding correctly that those rides were taken by 64 people?
for the,
Okay.
yeah,
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's paratransit. All right. Got it. And so any of the statistics here, page 5 as well, would also just be 64 riders, because it's only counting trips that started in Monona. And Mick is telling us that we have 64 Monona riders. I'm assuming that means people who live in Monona get on in Monona.
Yeah, I assume the
Well, and
64
also to
Go
Oh, I'd also say that, remember, paratransit ridership, they do have to put in that application to get approved. So I expect actually the number that Mick is giving us is how many approved paratransit riders are based in Monona.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because he cannot say with certainty how many of those approved are actually riding, but one would assume that if you're going to go through the trouble of applying, you're going to ride. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. Are there any other thoughts that you wanted to mention? There is some interesting stuff just textually within the emails exchanged on page 6, 7, and 8, but we can wait if there are other questions that people wanted to bring up. Okay. So as you look on page 6 of your packet and page 7, you can see, but also I'm wondering if we could just start on page 8. It seems like that is really where it all comes together. Yeah. Okay. So on page 8, it's got my question and their answer. And thank you to the members of this commission. It was your questions that I was relaying. So if I forgot anything, please let me know. But the first question was all about, there was a stop in Monona and people were wondering, how has it affected ridership? It was there before Monona joined, and we would expect that because Monona is now part of it, it would have some sort of impact to that stop. It is interesting what he says, right? Let's see. Talking about it might open new markets. As you read through that, was there anything that you felt was still unanswered for you that you would like me to follow up on? It is nice to know that they're still working on their technology for counting at the stop level. So I think one of the conclusions I'm drawing here is before Monona, after Monona, joined Metro, how do we compare? And Mick is also bringing up that before Monona, years ago, they had a more rudimentary way of counting stops. And now they're rolling out this automated stop counter technology. So there's going to be some apples to oranges comparison here. It's just going to be kind of tricky to know with confidence what's going on there. All right. I'm going to go on to number 2, unless someone wants to mention anything more about 1. Number 2, what are Metro's thoughts and what story comes to mind when you're comparing the G versus the L? G is the commercial district, so there could be a lot of workers on it. L just goes along Monona Drive and Flum. Does anyone use the L to go downtown? Blah, 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 right? Now, who was this, Addie? Was this one of your questions, or Jillian? I can't recall which of you asked it.
Remember, I mean, I think we're all just kind of surprised by the huge amount of ridership.
Right.
And Jillian, which route in particular surprises you?
Boy, I gotta pull up the old data. I mean, honestly, well, which is the one? Might have been the G, but the fact that people were using it on the weekend too. But maybe that supports their conclusion that maybe they're going to stores Walmart, Woodman's, East Town Mall.
And what page of the packet are you referring to?
On that page you were looking at where he's
Okay.
explaining,
Yep.
why, they might be traveling.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like maybe they don't know either, so
That's what it seems to be. It sounds like it's a
they're
new
like, they're
system.
surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause he says, I thought Route L would have a little lower ridership, but the demand for the bus service in the quarter was higher than I thought.
I think they're looking into just as much as we are, trying to figure it out.
And it also sounded like in order to answer our question, they are really relying on people to respond to a survey. And that's kind of hard. That's tricky. I mean, whatever it is, the takeaway from this meeting is that we've got some great ridership numbers.
The first email that starts, I think my biggest takeaway was from ridership is down throughout the system in the summer due to UW and other students leaving town. I mean, some of the boardings we're talking about at Dutch Mill, UW students, because Dutch Mill was down. So I don't know if that's, if you kind of look at page 3. Page 3 shows the 38 so that is March, April, and May. So school is out in May. There
Right.
was a huge drop off in May at 38, and that was one of our concerns. So even they don't know yet what that is, and I think that's gonna come over time. I think it's one of those things, well, they'll be looking at, school starts up again, will it be back to where it
Yeah.
was, or is it sometimes consistent now, so I think we'll start to see some patterns starting to form fairly soon.
Yeah, huge drop on the 38 in the month of May, but for the other two lines, there's just this slow, steady increase that keeps coming along. It's great.
Well, that was one of our things. Oh, go on.
I was gonna say, I can give kind of an incidental rider report, because I've been doing a bunch of riding around on the buses. So one is that, yes, the G always seems to have a lot more people on it, because it is going to a lot more different places, it seems. The few times that I've taken the L, it's mostly to get to another bus stop and to transfer, especially on the weekends, if I'm going uptown. I've got to take the L usually up someplace to get another bus to get into town if I'm taking the bus on the weekends. I think the other thing that's important to note too is that Metro rolled out the credit card charges last month. And that I personally use my phone to pay for my bus rides. But I think it'll be interesting as we start to learn more about how the system goes to see how that piece has kind of affected it, because anybody can just get on the bus and tap and go. And as they're doing these new fare services, I think that's going to be a really interesting barrier that they're taking down to people getting on the bus for the first time.
Right.
And
And
maybe
when you say you use your phone, it's still a credit card, right? I mean, you're just tapping your credit card, your Apple Pay or whatever card.
No, it's Metro has an app.
Got it.
And I open the app, it shows me a QR code. I show that to the bus reader. And then when I need to refresh, it stores my credit card and makes one charge for like $20 or $30 or something, and adds that credit to my Metro account.
But because people can now use a credit card to pay, my assumption is you can also use Apple Pay, which is on your phone, but it's a credit card and you just use it. It's still a credit card. Yeah. No. Okay.
I haven't tried because the credit card readers seem to be that you insert and pull out your card.
There's no tabby. Okay.
So I don't know if it's a tap thing.
Is it the same price, credit card or app?
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe we need to do
the one-
another, PSA to announce a credit card.
Oh,
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
the
also think that
one
Yeah,
except the one thing that's come up with the credit card systems is that if people are eligible for special fares, so seniors and students, I think are the predominant fare groups or low income individuals. The credit card system doesn't work
Oh,
for
okay.
those special
Ah.
fares.
that's.
So seniors or students or low income individuals don't get those special fares with a credit card. But
Yep.
daily caps, weekly caps, and monthly caps are implemented, which is lovely.
just for what it's worth, check the Madison Metro website, and yes, they have mobile wallets like Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay. I thought that I had read that somewhere. Okay, anyway. But yeah, Addie, good clarification about the limitations on that. All right. All right. So, and then the third question on page 8, we asked if we could see a report that includes exits, not just boardings. And I learned something new, that the word alighting means exit or off. It's an old British English term that seems to have stuck around in public transportation.
I don't see, oh, some of alightings. Oh, okay.
So now with this, it makes me think that we can see boardings and alightings. We can. It's not just about the rides that started in Monona. It is also about the rides that ended in Monona. So by playing with the raw data, that's probably what we need to do.
Okay.
I mean, if he's telling us, looks like we can count it. But then again, I'm looking at page 8 and I'm looking on number 2A. And he says we do not have the ability to track where individuals board and exit, which is different than being able to count boardings and alightings. I think 2A is referring to tracking the movement of a person, whereas number 3 is referring to counting exits and I don't know why I don't have a word, on and offs. I don't know, boardings and exits.
Yeah. But
So at the end of the day, we need the raw data, I think.
well, it sounds like we have it. It's in that database and we just need to analyze it.
Exactly. I
Um,
mean, and when we have that, so if there is a column, yeah, number 3 is just sort of going against what we've said earlier today in this evening. This evening, we were talking about Metro only counting boardings in Monona. So clearly we can count exits. Mark, can you, or anybody here in the room, can you give me maybe a quick way to find that raw data that was emailed out? Was it just emailed from you, Mark?
You would have been in the agenda, the meeting date.
Okay, beautiful. So I got it. So a lightings. A lightings, there we go, boarding for lightings. So just for my own clarifications, we are able to count the rides that come into Monona and the rides that go out of Monona with Madison Metro, not just on paratransit, but on all Madison Metro. Am I,
Looks like that's what he's saying, yeah. I guess the difference is that with paratransit, they can see who came in Monona and where those people went, whereas we're getting the sum of everyone who got off in Monona regardless of where they got on. So the data about paratransit just tells us, yeah, it tells us more about the riders, whereas
now you're exactly right. In this spreadsheet that I'm just looking at now, Monona ridership, October 2024 to June 2025, I am seeing only service type Saturday, Sunday, or weekday. Sorry, forget it. Weekday. I got it. Never mind. Okay. I don't know if anyone else.
Does
Yep.
anybody remember what the name of the stop is at Dutch Mill Park and Ride? Because I'm trying to look at the alightings, the boardings and alightings at Dutch Mill Park and Ride, and I can't find the name of the stop in the data. Does anybody remember what it's called?
I was touching it.
no, it's not listed as that.
Broadway and
Right, because it's the 38 that goes out there.
right. I'll just filter on that. And then
Is it Cops at East Broadway? What's that?
No, there's one more stop past Cops at East Broadway, because Cops at East Broadway is right in front of Menards.
Mhm.
East Broadway service.
Broadway to Huska.
Or if they didn't include it in the data.
Yeah, maybe it's not.
I don't think it's not, it should be.
I don't see it as an option.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, there are new people running a report, so maybe I'll just. We'll ask Nick to double check to make sure that's included in there. The new revised route data,
Mhm.
cause that's clearly not in there.
It would be, if it were, it would be East Broadway and Stoughton Road. What would it be called?
Let me look at the Metro map, because they list all of their.
What would they call it? No,
There
it's
are some
across the
east-
street.
That's Dutch Mill Road on East. of
Yeah,
Stoughton.
and they only show 3
Is it,
East Broadway.
Collins,
Who's coming on?
Court, yeah, but it's not.
Mhm.
stops being Broadway when it crosses Stoughton Avenue.
Oh, it does it,
I think it's Dutch Mill Road.
which is not part of the data that we received.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's outside Monona.
So they didn't include it in there, so we need to get that updated.
Yeah.
Good catch.
All right. That's fine.
Yeah, Metro's transit map lists it as the stop listing name as Dutch Mill Park and Ride.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely want to know what's going on there.
Yeah. So going back to what we sort of started out talking about in the beginning, how can we accurately explain the way that First Student counted and the way that Madison Metro counts? Because we now know that both count boardings and off boardings. For paratransit, for everything, they all count boardings and off boardings. What I believe we could say is, when it comes to First Student, we could get a better understanding of, what am I saying? Riders versus rides, but maybe that's not the way to say it. At the end of the day, we don't count the numbers in half. We don't double the numbers. They're the same.
Well, but they're different because what's on page 4 of the three of the packet is a sum of riders based on boardings,
Yes.
which is only half of the picture. So
True.
it would be the
True.
same if we're adding boardings and alightings and we're comparing that with the First Student data. But
Yep.
as currently provided, it's different. But we can use that raw data to arrive at
Keep that number.
or a
yes.
figure that's.
As long as you haven't touched no numbers.
Yeah.
So good point though, Jillian. If we just wanted to talk about boardings, absolutely, we would compare page 3 to page 9, and then we would cut the numbers on page 9 in half. Yeah, no, that's true. Okay. If
Yeah,
just,
but we can use the spreadsheet to talk about both. We
Yeah.
just, it's just
Yeah.
hard now because we don't have that data.
Yeah, they were converting it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
But the spreadsheet is fun to play around with because
It is.
you
I
can
know,
see
you throw a
like,
filter or a sort on there and you're like going, yeah, for sure.
yeah, there's like some stops where they're, for certain times, they're like 24 people getting off at one time or 24 people getting on, which just seems crazy, but like this is if you do it by how many people got off. I mean, that's gotta be like a field trip. There are 49 people getting off at that stop at that
Right.
time. But
Yeah,
yeah, we
There-
can
yeah.
Was it-
play around with
was
it.
it a show or something?
But that one I think is an error or something.
That's
because
Madison. So this is October. We didn't start till March. so
Yeah,
it's one of those-
But this one, westbound Monona at Flown, 32 people got
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. that's what I'm
At
saying.
12:57 PM,
Oh,
so in the middle of the day.
wow.
Yeah.
On the G.
That's,
Yeah, so maybe once I get back to having childcare, I'll
you mean school?
play around with this.
Well, we'll use this one. I'll get an updated.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, just to make sure that
Oh, right,
It
with
is
the
all
Dutch
inclusive.
mill, yeah.
all inclusive, so I would not. We'll just
Okay.
double check, make sure.
Sure,
they're all
yeah, well, maybe
inclusive.
I'll just make notes about what we could do with the updated data.
Mhm. It is interesting. The highest number on the spreadsheet is an alighting way back in January on Flom and Alder. Almost 50 people on a Friday got off there. Yeah, it is interesting.
Oh, was that by the school?
That'd be,
Flom and Alder's by, yes, La Follette, is that the La
Well,
Follette?
there's a middle school and a high school.
Oh, Senate and La Follette, yeah, you're right. All right, as far as boardings go, the highest number we have, 31 people. But that's what, June, middle of June, Monona and Flom, people were getting on at 9 o'clock in the morning. That was pretty. Monona and Flom is consistently the highest ranking boarding on the G and the L. Yeah. Along Monona Drive in general. Good stuff. All right. Is there anything more to be said about the statistics? Anything you'd like me to follow up with? Anything you'd like more information about? something I can help with. If not, I'm just gonna go on to the next item on our agenda and give Jillian and Addie a little chance to talk about how their meetings went,
Mine will be quick because I didn't have it. So I'll
That's
report
okay.
on at the next month's meeting.
That's okay, Jillian.
On
You
to
have-
Addie.
But you have connected,
Yes,
right? I mean, you and Diane connected.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm not accomplishing much this summer.
Don't worry about it. And then
Okay.
did you learn? Were you able to meet with someone with Christine at Mesba?
Yeah, yeah, and I also met with one of her colleagues, Laura Hofstein, as well.
Yeah. Great.
So I was able to talk to both of them about, how we can help Monona businesses get their employees and get better awareness of transit and help get their employees connected. I joined a mixer at True Coffee a couple of weeks ago and was able to talk with some of the people who are members of MESBA at that event about the transit program. There seems to be a lot of interest in their ability to give people the benefit of a transit pass, and IRS creates kind of this program where that can happen, I think, through pre-tax dollars. So there's a benefit to employers to giving that those passes. And so there seemed to be a lot of interest from the MESBA community about making bus passes available to their employees. I think
That
the
is
other,
so wonderful.
Wow, that's big.
That's huge, Addie. That's just spectacular. Okay. Anyway, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah, I think the other two things that we chatted about was, special events and how we can, as a transit commission, help support Monona special events. And so I think there may be an opportunity for us to do a little debrief after the July 4th event, and our rerouted metro and getting people, having the amount of close parking. And, are there opportunities there for us to help support in special events?
Addie, is there any sort of data that you're hoping to get specifically about the July 4th event? No. Okay.
Yeah, we can talk about vibes instead of data.
Do you have a
I'm-
vibe to share?
Well, I think the one thing I did notice is that the parking, there's a region around the park where people were only allowed to park their car. Sorry, there's a region around the event where people were only able to park their cars on half of one side of the street. So we didn't have two side street parking, we just have one side street parking. So I'm, curious. It seemed that there was the two or three people that I had chatted with that they were a little frustrated with not being able to park everywhere. But I also talked to a couple people who are like, oh, well, it's really hard to park at the festival. So just, stay at your house and walk over, or, not a lot of people are talking about taking the bus there, but we're talking about alternative methods of getting to the festival other than just driving, parking your car as close as you can and attending.
Hmm. They did that to allow for emergency vehicles. So there was some pushback, but I think it's something the city wants to do
Mhm.
this year and future years probably.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Did
Well,
anybody get in the traffic jam after the fireworks?
I didn't have
Yeah, I
to block away.
Yeah.
but I didn't even see a traffic jam. That's the thing. Like,
Right.
it alleviated it. It was fantastic.
Gives a lot more room for pedestrians too.
Yeah, it was a good call. I think that in the beginning it was new and people were kind of concerned how it would work, but I thought it worked great. Yeah. Addie, this is fantastic. Thank you
Yeah.
for meeting with Christine and Laura. So can you,
Big gold star for Addie.
yeah, can you
Well, admittedly, I
enjoy
was
it?
also there talking about the White Horse Festival, which is happening next summer, and getting
Yeah.
their buy-in from that. And also, of course, talking about, shameless self-promotion, the Farm Fresh Atlas of Wisconsin, and businesses getting connected. So I figure, triple up on these meetings when I meet with people.
You
So
had
I
quite
was
the
gonna ask you,
portfolio.
if you had fun, if you enjoyed it. It sounds like it was good that you did that. That's great. So you mentioned that you joined, you mentioned there was a lot of interest in giving employees Metro passes. And why was that? There was some tax advantage, some tax benefit?
Yeah, if I pull up my notes,
Pre-tax.
that was just where the questions were, is this a benefit? What kind of tax incentives are there for this benefit? And there were questions I unfortunately didn't have answers to, but did some research after the fact.
And then what was the mixer that you joined? It wasn't was it a MESBA event?
It was, and if I look back, we met at True Coffee on July 24th. And it was just an open networking event for MESBA members to come in and have a coffee and a pastry in the morning at True Coffee, and just chat and get to meet people.
Thank you so much for doing that. That's just fantastic. This is wonderful. And do you and Christine or Laura have any thoughts of future meetings or what's next?
Yeah, I think the hope is that I'll join another one of their actual business meetings as opposed to a mixer and do a short presentation at that. But thank you for the reminder. I will loop back with them and find a time.
That would be fantastic. And I would love to join you and be there in support in the audience, cheering you on. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Jillian, don't stress out. Don't worry. It's okay. Whenever your schedule allows. Rick, go ahead.
I just wondered if Jillian or you think it might be good. I have a senior citizens committee coming up on the 24th. So I could ask some of the questions you're thinking of asking.
Sure, yeah, maybe, I could write like a summary of some of the things that we talked about.
Okay.
I guess I'm not even sure we had like that many concerns. But I'll write out, maybe I'll look back at my notes and see, but I think it was more like just wanting to make sure that if there are any issues people are having or questions that have gone unanswered.
Yeah, I think
that
Diane has heard from some people.
Oh, okay, yeah, so maybe I'll try to think of those questions, but I might still meet with her one-on-one anyway, just because.
Well, let me know what you
Okay.
prefer.
Sounds good.
Rick, when is that meeting?
27th,
Oh, okay.
August 27th? At what
Yeah.
time?
5 p.m.
Is that something where if it fits into Jillian's schedule, would that be something you would put on the agenda?
We could.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at the operating budget, so
Yeah, maybe
it might be a long meeting.
Yeah, maybe it's not the meeting for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe in a future meeting after the budget is ironed out. Yeah. Right now it's all about budget. Well, thank you, ladies. That's fantastic. And Jillian, I think it is probably a good idea just to meet individually first. Yeah. And then Mark, speaking of budget, is there something this commission needs to be considering as we move into budget season?
We'll bring a budget back at the next meeting. We'll look at it.
Okay.
I have
And so during our September meeting, we'll be talking about transit budget.
Yeah, it's just a 3% increase. Is
Oh,
what we're
okay.
allowed to increase it. So it's just basically what the contract is.
plus 3%.
The contract is it's a 3% increase.
Yeah.
So there's really no change to the budget. So.
Okay. I wondered if we wanted to suggest that the capital budget include a bench or two at some of the bus stops.
Oh, do you know anybody do you know any place you can get a nice recycled bench, Rick?
Actually, I'm not quite sure those would work because they don't really affix to the ground.
Yeah, you're right. Mhm.
I was thinking more like the senior center might want that bench, but
That could be nice.
they're not terribly expensive, but it would nice to see some movement on offering some amenities at some of the bus stops.
Yeah, we put it on for the next meeting to kind of talk about.
Yeah, we can get some price estimates or maybe talk to Public Works to see what they might require.
I guess maybe that could be a question for like, yeah, like where. When I talked to Diane, I could see are people getting on and off at the senior center or. Cause like there might be some seniors who are taking the bus because it's convenient and they haven't set up a ride, but so if we know there's certain places where there are users who might wanna. Sit on a bench, could choose strategically.
I know the stop in front of Walmart, I always see people sitting on the ground there. And it's like, ooh, and it's quite often there are people there with packages.
Is it?
On the Walmart side of,
Walmart side, yeah.
I think it's Southtown.
Yeah,
They have the bus shelter on the other side, but
right.
there's nothing on the
The other side. That's right.
east side.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a great question. I don't recall which community this was, but within the past 3 months, someone shared a video with me about a community that all got together and they built benches for their bus stops and they decorated them. And I'm not suggesting we do that, but I know that
Yeah, we don't have someone
it
who's a
doesn't hurt to be
forger.
creative at times.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be metal or something that can really
Absolutely.
stand up to
Absolutely
vandalism.
for the seniors. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
Oh.
plastic covered, but strong enough to give
Yes.
a buddy kick.
I also wanted to share that at the last Public Works meeting, there was a comment from our Public Works Director about that department's work to install all of the concrete pads at all of the bus stops. And it's my understanding that they will be wrapping up that work and that all bus stops will now have the pads, which is fantastic, which is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not this year, it's for next year.
For next
Oh,
year,
right.
but next year, sorry.
Oh, 2022.
Right.
It would be wrapped
Yes.
up in.
We were going over next year's budget, right?
Okay,
Next-
yeah, okay. Cause there was also a sidewalk, isn't there, along Owen?
Yeah, no one does it, that's
Yeah.
in the budget for next year. so.
Next year, okay.
So,
Yay! That's
Well-
my bus stop. Thank you.
We'll name it after you, Annie.
and actually now I have to sort of retract a bit too, right? Because at the Public Works meeting, the committee approved that budget item, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the council will approve that budget
Or
item.
the-
So I
The mayor
should
could
speak
also-
cautiously.
Yeah,
And yeah, okay.
it's gotta go through a couple more votes before it's final.
Okay. So in that case, is there anything else that someone would like to add? Any request of Mark or staff or anything like that? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn
I'll move to adjourn.
from Addie. Is there a second?
Seconded?
Second from Jillian. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thanks, everyone. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
All right. Bye-bye. Good night.
Right.